If there's one thing we hoped would come out of football's economic recession post-COVID, it was a return to more reasonable transfer fees. But with the pandemic still raging in many parts of the world, big spending has already returned to the game's top table. This season just gone saw 6 players swap hands for more than 50 million, with 2 fetching over 100. And this year it seems the super clubs will go hard again, with players like Gabriel Jesus, Robert Lewandowski and Frankie de Jong all in the frame for huge transfers. But while those players are highly decorated household names, the game's growing awareness of the value of young talent has also seen prices rise for prospects. And there's no hotter prospect on the market right now than Aurélien Tchouameni. The 22-year-old Frenchman has just completed a second full campaign with Monaco, having spent the 2 before that with his boyhood side Bordeaux. He's wanted this summer by the likes of Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea and PSG, with the European champions leading the race, though it will reportedly take over 80 million euros to secure his signature, and there's a slim chance the move could have even been completed before this video goes live. That's a lot for a player who many fans wouldn't recognise on the street, but a move looks inevitable this summer, and we're betting it won't be long before Tchouameni makes himself a starter at an elite side. But just what makes us so confident? And what is it about the youngster that has prompted comparisons to players as different as Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante and Steven Gerrard? On today's EFD Explained, we're running the rule over the continent's hottest midfield prospect to find out. Though we're barely into the off-season, Tchouameni and his agent have already reached a verbal agreement with Real Madrid. And so while he looks to make the move to Spain, there's still time for long-time admirers Chelsea, Liverpool or PSG to swoop in for the youngster. But which club would suit him best? And is Madrid the best destination for him? Fortunately, Tchouameni looks to be adept in multiple roles. And most crucially, he has the best ability in the game: availability. Despite his age, he's already made 99 appearances in league play, 2 more than Phil Foden, born in the same year. And after his £60 million switch to Monaco in 2020, he's been remarkably durable, missing just 5 games over the last 2 seasons, ranking as his club's most used player in each campaign. But he hasn't just earned a place in the Monaco team. Handed his international debut in autumn 2021, he's already gained 8 caps for Le Bleu, more than Bayern Munich's Dayot Upamecano. And though coach Didier Deschamps has often been resistant to changing his preferred lineup, he's made an exception for Tchouameni, bringing him on in the Nations League semi-final victory over Belgium before starting him in the final against Spain. A true statement of confidence, with the youngster taking N'Golo Kante's usual spot next to Pogba in the engine room. Like Deschamps, it's easy to see what teams in need of a ball winner can appreciate in Tchouameni. Real Madrid's Casemiro has seen a decline in minutes for a 3rd consecutive year and is now 30, while all 3 of PSG's defensive midfielders have now passed that milestone. And the 6'2" Frenchman is essentially a wall in any team that has him. With a 71% aerial win rate, he's the equivalent of a good centre-back when the ball's off the deck, and as soon as it hits the ground, he's ready to pounce, putting in an absolutely monstrous 6.5 tackles and interceptions per 90 this season. Only 9 players in Europe's top 5 leagues produce more across 21-22, and most of them play for garbage sides, like Watford's Hassan Kamara, Max Mittelstadt of Hertha Berlin, and Genoa's Sylvain Hefti, all of whom got relegated. Put simply, it's rare to put up enormous defensive numbers on a team which has the ball most of the time, but that's what Tchouameni does, with Monaco seeing 54% of possession, more than Tottenham or Arsenal. But that's not all he does, as Liverpool's interest makes clear. Unlike Chelsea, who are seeing a world-class DM age out, the Reds still have Fabinho anchoring their side, as well as big defensive production from Thiago. But Klopp has had to mix and match throughout the season, frequently pumping for Jordan Henderson when he needs control of possession and physical presence, then bringing in Naby Keita when his team requires a dynamic runner from deep. So given the physical issues of both players, someone who can do a little bit of both is a wise target. And Tchouameni is certainly giving every indication of having the technical prowess to slot into a super team. When he sees space and has a chance to hit top gear, Tchouameni is a powerful runner, comparing well to driving midfielders like Declan Rice. The Monaco man rarely takes on more than he can manage with the ball at his feet, completing 75% of his dribbles to Rice's 61%. But he still puts up plenty of progressive carries, runs which take the ball more than 15 yards forward, with roughly 5 per 90. More than Henderson, Fabinho, Thomas Partey, and about the same as Eduardo Camavinga. But even those stats are just an appetizer for the main course, which is his passing. According to stats website FBref, Tchouameni's most statistically similar players include Thiago Alcantara and Rodri, and like them, the guy just keeps his team rolling forward constantly, placing him on the top 20% of midfielders for progressive passes into the final third, into the box, and long balls each game, all while maintaining an elite 87% completion rate, a number which has actually risen from last season despite the youngster taking on harder passes than ever before. Of course, he is doing this in a weaker league, but regardless of the quality of opposition, it's not like Tchouameni never faces traffic. Ligue 1 teams are well aware that disrupting Tchouameni disrupts Monaco as a whole, and as a result he has had to play about 10 passes under pressure each game, more than everyone else at the Principality side, and more than 88% of people in his position. That would translate nicely to the intensity of the Premier League or to Madrid, where Modric and Kroos remain the dual release valves when Madrid find themselves under pressure. So it's safe to say that Tchouameni currently profiles as one of the most well-rounded, talented and intelligent midfielders in his age group right now. But are there any reasons to not believe the numbers? As we explored in our video on the Bundesliga tax, transplants from other leagues do tend to see a drop in production when they hit English shores, with analyst Tony Alhar's data indicating players from Ligue 1 lose about 10% of output on average. That might affect a club's willingness to deal at 80 million, though it's worth noting that the difference between production in France and Spain is much lower, and PSG obviously wouldn't care. But even with a 10% reduction across the board, Tchouameni would still be a very strong performer. While his age also suggests there is more to come from him, potentially compensating for any adaptation difficulties in the long term. But there are other reasons to think Tchouameni is a more robust prospect than any other midfield signings from weaker divisions. As much as we like players like Tanguy and Ndombele, Naby Keita and Giovanni Lo Celso outside of the Prem, they all had some attributes which were acceptable, rather than good. Ndombele, for example, was a great passer and runner, but his defensive numbers never popped, topping out at 3.8 tackles and interceptions a game. Keita had both good attacking and good defensive numbers, but they came at the cost of ball security, the Guinean ranking the worst 3% of midfielders for getting dispossessed in his final season in Germany. Tchouameni has no such concerns at present, coupling elite work in possession with outstanding defensive stats, and even chipping in with 6 goals last campaign and 5 goals this season, in the same range as all of Liverpool's midfielders over the 21-22 league campaign. In fact, of all the centre mids brought into the Premier League in recent years, the one most similar to Tchouameni in profile is Newcastle new boy Bruno Guimaraes. We all know how that move has turned out, and of course Liverpool already have an ex-Monaco star in their ranks. The real question is how his next move will shape the Frenchman's career. Go to Spain and he's likely to become an out-and-out holding player, mopping up in front of the defence and using his long passing to spring Vinicius, whilst Camavinga and Valverde take on more dynamic, shuttling roles. Drop into Liverpool and he'll be a game controller, receiving the ball from Fabinho and finding Thiago higher upfield, while covering for the adventurous fullbacks. However, as mentioned earlier, the Reds look set to miss out on Tchouameni, with the midfielder reportedly favouring a move to the Bernabeu. If he does join the 14-time European champions, then they'll be signing one of the hottest prospects in the sport right now. So guys, that was our EFD Explained on why everyone wants to sign Aurélien Tchouameni. What did you guys think of it? Do you think he'll be a success at Real Madrid if that move does go through? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want more great European content, why don't you go check out Friday's Continental Club, where myself and Henry talked to Bundesliga expert Jasmine Baber about Sadio Mane's potential move to Bayern and Robert Lewandowski's potential departure. Shock horror. And if you've enjoyed this video, remember to like it, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time.